A lot of receivers in this league through the years have caught a lot of passes, but not many have scored touchdowns year after year after year.
And this year's no different for pro football's best receiver. Cris Carter's hunger for the ball is perfectly suited quarterback Jeff George. A lethal combination that's thrust Minnesota back into the playoff race.
A cockiness that he brings to the offense that we can't be stopped. You guys give me time, my receiver's going to get open.
KC.
The Kansas City Chiefs are 7-5 and smack in the middle of the playoff hunt. Their brute force style of play was designed for winter wars like tonight. But will it be enough to throttle the Vikes?
We are very, very explosive, and it's a matter of us playing, set the tempo, and make the defense do what we want them to do.
Straight or physical. Every position, be physical.
It's the Kansas City Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings on ESPN's Sunday Night Football. Kansas City, Missouri on a cold, still night in December. And that sea of red means we're at Arrowhead. A sellout crowd is alive and rocking for a battle between the 7-5 Vikings and their 7-5 Chiefs. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick, along with Joe Theismann and Paul McGuire. It's great to have you with us. There's an old boxing axiom that says styles make the fight. Well, in this battle of heavyweights, Kansas City is the mauler. They want to come out and bang you around, wear you down, and make it go the distance. The Vikings are the punchers. They come out throwing bombs, and they want it over with in a hurry. How about Minnesota tonight, Joe?
Well, Mike, Minnesota faces an opponent tonight very similar to the one they faced just 6 days ago in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Kansas City wants to come out and run the football. They want to come out and pound you. They want to keep the score close and let their defense get involved. I don't think that can happen. The Minnesota Vikings wide receivers were not a very big part of that offensive show last Monday night. Tonight, they're going to have to be. As a matter of fact, Cris Carter told us 2 of the 3 receivers tonight are going to have to come up with big games. My bet is one of them is going to have to be Randy Moss.
I would think so. All along, Gunther Cunningham has believed his philosophy of football would win out in December in games just like this. And the basis of that philosophy is an unyielding commitment to run that football.
Well, when Gunther Cunningham took over this football team, he said in order to win in the National Football League, you have to run consistently. You have to be able to run the ball effectively. Now, they've been able to do that, but I think in order to beat the Minnesota Vikings tonight, they're going to have to change gears. And by that, I mean they have to take advantage of the worst pass defense in the National Football League. Go down the field, score points quick, and then go back to your running game, and that will enable you to turn your defense loose.
All right, Paul, and that's what Derek Thomas is hoping for, a chance to reacquaint himself with Jeff George. They're all next on ESPN's Sunday Night Football. Sideline, Solomon.
Thanks, Mike. I'm Coach Denny Green. And, Coach, tonight you'll play a team similar to the one you played last week in Tampa. What will you have to do differently in order to win this game here tonight?
I think the big thing is not turn the football over. This is a team that really relies on turnovers. We got to make them take the ball over on the 20-yard line and drive 80 yards for points. And we have to be able to defeat bump and run coverage with our wide receivers and run the ball to our offense.
Now, this could be one of the loudest stadiums in the National Football League. In fact, they're expecting a record crowd here tonight. How do you plan on dealing with the crowd noise?
Well, first, it's really exciting. I think we'll deal with the crowd noise by trying to score points. I've never seen a really noisy crowd when you're behind.
All right, Coach, thanks a lot. On the injury front, well, Kansas City, they will be without their fastest running back, Rashawn Sheehy. He's out with an ankle and knee injury. As for the Vikings, they'll be without their starting free safety, Orlando Thomas. He's out with a hamstring injury, Mike.
All right, Solomon. To go to 8-5, that means the Chiefs can tie for first place in the AFC West with a win tonight. And they have an upcoming rematch with the Seahawks that could give them the lead. But they have to take care of business here against Minnesota. Here's the wild card race in the NFC. The Vikings could pull even with Detroit with a win. And right now, they're in second place behind the Detroit Lions in that tough NFC Central. Gunther Cunningham, the former defensive coordinator of this ball club, in his first year as the head coach. He wanted to get back to basics, and certainly he has become known already as a player's coach here in Kansas City. Minnesota will receive. Mo Williams and Robert Tate are deep for the kick of Pete Stoyanovich. One of the problems with Kansas City's kickoffs is that Stoyanovich is not a great kickoff man. He doesn't get the distance anymore. Still a very valuable field goal kicker. And there is the wide receiver turned defensive back and now return man Robert Tate. We're underway at Arrowhead. Very short, low kick. Tate from the 10. Across the 30, still on his feet to the 35-36 yard line. For the Vikings offense, Jeff George has thrived since taking over as the starter. 18 touchdown passes in the NFL's third best pass rating. The backs are Smith and Kleinsasser. The receivers, Moss and Chris Carter, number 3 in the NFL with 81 catches, and Glover, the tight end. The offensive line, Stussy, Randall, McDaniel, one of the best at guard ever, Christie, Dixon, and Stringer. And the injured player hurt on the opening kickoff, Ron George.
Best football team I've ever played on.
Derek Thomas ready to welcome him back. He had 6 sacks against him last year when we were here. 6.
And he only had 12 for the year last year.
Because he didn't get to play him anymore.
That's not kind.
Oh, if he'd have played the Raiders 16 times, he'd have set the world record. George changing the play with all this noise. Smith. Robert Smith gets about 3. Kansas City's defense has Hicks, Chester McLaughlin, the 4-time Pro Bowler, having a dominant season. Barnes and Williams. The linebackers, Thomas Patton and Donnie Edwards, have moved outside this year and leads the team in tackles. An excellent secondary with Dishman, James Hasty, who has a career-high 6 interceptions, Tongue and Woods. Now Jake Reed is in as the 3rd wide receiver. Smith again. Robert Smith very close to a first down out at the 47-yard line. The pressure tonight will be on Kansas City's wide receivers, considering the brilliance of Minnesota on the outside, especially the speed of Randy Moss, who is going to draw Hasty, and Dishman is going to be against Chris Carter most of the night. You'll also see Eric Warfield, number 44. When he comes in the game, most likely he will shift to Moss. There is Randy, 84, with Hasty in his face. First down, Minnesota. Ball was snapped prematurely. It's loose. Kansas City has it. Jeff George was changing the play, and Christie snapped it to him.
He was trying to change it, and that just gives you an idea of how loud it is in this stadium when the center can't hear the quarterback. You hear a sound, you think it's your quarterback. Look, he's looking over, he's taking his one hand away, trying to audibilize. The ball winds up on the ground, squirts out in front, and the Chiefs are right on top of it. Dan Williams, number 92, winds up on it.
Denny Green said moments ago, we can't give them a short field. They just have. Gerback to throw on first down. Andre Rison to the 31, only his 17th catch of the season.
Well, you know, we talked about at the beginning, if you're going to do something, change gears, go down against the worst pass defense in the National Football League. It's the Minnesota Vikings. Look at Rison. He just sets up. Gerback hits him right on the numbers. That's a perfect throw. The route was perfect.
And he comes off a play action, which helps it out a lot.
Here's the toss. Bam Morris carries for about 4. Kansas City quarterback Elvis Gerback, who already has a career-high 13 touchdown passes, but has also thrown 12 interceptions. It's been running back by committee. Morris and Richardson start, along with Rison, Alexander, and Tony Gonzalez, who's having a great season. A veteran, tough offensive line. Parker, Zott, Grunhard, 4-time Pro Bowl guard Will Shields, and Riley. Donnell Bennett, number 30, checks in. So does Ronnie Johnson, number 83, as a tight end. Donnell Bennett out of Miami. Gaping hole up the middle. Robert Griffith, who has been switched to free safety tonight, had to make the stop.
Well, the other thing is you've got John Randall at about 285 pounds on the right side, and Will Shields and Victor Riley, two buildings on the right side.
Well, look at the center, Grunhard. He gets ball, and he just turns Jerry Ball 96 up in the hole. When he turns him out, or in, they turn out, and look at a hole. That's beautiful.
Gunter Cunningham believes in big backs, especially in cold weather. Morris and Richardson are back in there. Gerbeck, plenty of time in the flat to Rison. He's knocked out of bounds by Kenny Wright, the rookie. The Vikings defense now has John Randall, the 6-time Pro Bowler, playing end instead of tackle, along with Ball, Williams, and Dolman. The backers, Wong, Ed McDaniel, the club's leading tackler, and perhaps the fastest middle linebacker in the game, and Rudd. The secondary has been torched at the corners. Wright and Jimmy Hitchcock, who has 2 picks down from 7 last year. Banks and Griffin are the safeties.
They love the tight end down here in what they call the gold zone.
Richardson dragging people with him near the 7. This has been standard stuff for the Kansas City Chiefs, getting that turnover in this decade. By far, they have been the best team in the National Football League. That's a remarkable number, plus 125.
Well, you notice most coaches, when you talk to them, say, we got to win the giveaway, takeaway battle. The first thing Denny Green said, we just can't turn it over at all. And didn't think about taking it back.
3rd and short. Bennett. First down. The Vikings defense physically has always been small. It's always been predicated on getting ahead and being able to use the speed and athletic ability.
And the Kansas City Chiefs, particularly on the right side against Dennis Green's defense, line up with Will Shield at 320 and Victor Riley at 330. Now, Paige Fozio, the defensive coordinator, realizes he doesn't have that big of people. He's got Tony Williams at 290 and Jerry Ball at 330 inside. But you can bet that the Chiefs are not going to go there.
Bennett hit at the line, still falls forward to the 2. Dwayne Rudd was in on the stop.
When you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, you know, a lot of teams, they get down in that red zone, Joe, and they love to throw the ball. Not this team.
I don't believe so. You're right, Paul. This is where you just pound it out. This is attitude running. You go against that defensive line. You go against the smaller defensive end like a John Randall.
Bennett took a shot from middle linebacker Ed McDaniel.
That's what happens when you don't block the middle linebacker. I mean, when the linebacker's sitting in a hole and nobody touches him, Ed McDaniel, he's there. I mean, if that's, and you're running up to that hole, someone has got to take this guy. Watch coming on the right-hand side of your screen. You're going to see Ed McDaniel. Bam, he's in the backfield. There's no place to go.
And if the linebackers want to play that close to the line of scrimmage, now's the opportunity to run some type of play action.
3rd down, Bennett. Touchdown. Made it look easy behind the left side of the line. Parker, Zott, and Grunhard.
Dave Zott, number 79. He's the left guard. You watch him pull. Watch him get out. The left guard, he's outside around. Parker blocks down. Zott blocks, and they get an extra block up in the hole.
Tony Richardson took out McDaniel. Point after, Stoyanovich knocks it through. And Kansas City takes advantage of the game's first break. A fumble snap from center. They turn it into a touchdown. Night football. Still a beautiful facility, completed in 1972. It's still great to come here. One of the great venues in all of the NFL. Stoyanovich. Another low line drive. Tate from the 7. Has a seam. Crosses the 35. There's a flag down. Bracy Walker made the stop on special teams. And now we'll check in with Dick Hantak. And this will come back at least 10 yards.
Holding during the return, number 63. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Corbin Lucina, the veteran lineman, called for the hold on special teams. Timeout, 8:33 to go first quarter. It's 7-0 Chiefs. So pretty around here this week. George pressured from behind. Guess who?
Todd Stussy didn't stand a chance. You talk about timing from Derek Thomas. Stussy looks like he's standing still, and Derek Thomas just goes around. Stussy's not even out of his stance. He barely gets one hand on. Now there goes that Thomas lean, and he just squares up on Jeff George, and Jeff doesn't have a chance.
5th sack of the season for Derek Thomas. Here he comes again, the draw play to Smith. Robert Smith, 27-yard line. Wonder if Derek Thomas sent a limo to the airport for Jeff George.
Well, you know, over the last 3 weeks, Gunther Cunningham has picked out different players that have been in his doghouse. A couple weeks ago, it was Chris Dishman because he wanted to bench him. He winds up with 2 touchdowns. Last week, it was Tamarick Vanover. He winds up winning the game with a punt return. This week, it was Derek Thomas. That's the man in Gunther's doghouse, so you got to expect big plays out of him all night.
3rd and 7. Leroy Horde is into the backfield for Minnesota, number 44. Reed, flag is down. That may be against Dishman.
They're going to call holding. That flag came out early.
Reed never saw the ball. Neither did Dishman.
Going to be hands to the face in all likelihood. Dish got up there pressing him, got the hands a little high.
Gunther Cunningham doesn't like to call, and if you're going to play man-to-man bump and run, you have to be physical.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense, number 26. 5 yards. First down.
Chris Dishman getting physical with Jake Reed. There goes the hand comes up. Quick left hand in the face. It doesn't matter. Quick or slow, you're going to get a flag.
First down for the Vikings at their own 32. Clay Saucer is the blocking back, a former tight end, in front of Smith. Flea flicker. And George did the smart thing and just got rid of it.
Well, when you run a flea flicker and you've got a strong safety blitz, Reggie Tongue, you don't have time to throw it. Reggie Tongue just hesitates for a second. If he just keeps coming, he might have been able to catch the ball. Watch on the left-hand side of your screen. Number 25 is Reggie Tongue. Here he comes, or up the middle. And there's just no time for Jeff George to throw the football.
So far, Kurt Schottenheimer, the defensive coordinator, has guessed right in when he's wanted to put pressure on Jeff George.
There's also Leslie O'Neal coming from behind. Four-man rush this time. They still get through, and George is buried. Leslie O'Neal and Dan Williams. And Denny Green seeing his offense getting pounded early.
Well, you can't block a defensive end with a running back, really, and try to get any kind of chance. Robert Smith is going to come up and try to block Leslie O'Neal. He just pushes him aside and goes in and gets George.
For Leslie O'Neal, his 4th sack of the year. And Ray Sherman has to come up with something on 3rd and 17. And they'll go conservative with a draw play to Leroy Horde. Dan Williams gets him, along with the middle linebacker, Marcus Patton.
Well, that play was designed so we don't make another mistake deep in our own territory and give the ball back to the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's punt it away and wait for another time.
The Minnesota Vikings have got to have their defense come up big on this series. If they let Kansas City get this snowball rolling downhill, they're going to run over. Their defense is going to have to come up big so the offense can regroup.
Vanover had a touchdown return a week ago. Burgers had a great year as a kicker. Vanover from the 28. Got room to the near side. Can't make the corner. He fumbled the football, but it's out of bounds. Mo Williams made a heck of a play to prevent him from turning the corner. 14-yard return after a punt of 45. So far, it is all Kansas City with 6:11 to go first quarter. Chiefs leading the visiting Vikings 7-0. Safety out for at least a week. He has a hamstring, had to come out of last week's game. And that means Antonio Banks moves in as the starter for the first time in his career. Waived in September, then re-signed by the ball club. As Robert Griffith moves to free safety. And Bam Morris gets a carry, and Gunther Cunningham going right back to the well.
They can throw so many big backs at you. Tony Richardson, he only weighs 235. Bam is at 256, really. And then you throw that little change-up Mike Cloud in there, just at 205.
And Cloud checks in for the first time. Richardson didn't have a chance to get started that time. ESPN Sunday Night Football continues next week with an interconference matchup. Doug Flutie and the Buffalo Bills head to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Join Joe, Paul, and me right after prime time at 8:15 Eastern. Both teams coming off disappointing losses today, especially the Bills. But both still in it. 3rd and 8, Kansas City. Gerbeck, blitz coming. Unloads, rising. Check it, Horn. It's a gain of 30, and he beat Jimmy Hitchcock. And Jimmy Hitchcock is their best.
All right, they're going to run a blitz here, and look at this. Wright is number 20. He comes in. Gerbach sees it. He knows he's got one-on-one coverage on the outside.
Watch what Joe Horn does, though. You use your speed, get your head around, and then you find the ball. That ball isn't purposely underthrown. That's just an excellent play by Joe Horn.
Another first down, Kansas City. Morris back in as the principal running back. Bam Morris. Bams his way to the 13.
You know, when you get Bam Morris going, and really he does run downhill. When you get him running downhill, he's got such excellent feet for a big man.
Got to have the offensive line blocking, though, Paul. Number 68, Will Shields, does an excellent job on Tony Williams. Watch number 68. He's going to turn him out. Once he makes that move, Bam does what Bam does best, and that's go Bam. Nice hole. Nice hole for him to run through. Give that back a crease to go.
Back to the ground for a couple as Alexander gets a carry.
One other thing that the Kansas City Chiefs do, they try and run a play every 22 seconds. What it does is it puts a little doubt in the defense to get them where they want to line up, but yet the Chiefs just keep pouring on. That's one thing that Gunther Cunningham tried to do to every defense, not just Voges, in this particular year. He wanted to speed them up in and out of the huddle.
Gerbeck with plenty of time. Gonzalez, touchdown. They've made 2 touchdowns look very easy.
Well, Wong, number 52, the linebacker, is going to be in the inside. Watch him sit in here. He runs underneath by Wong, Kylie Wong, and he misses him.
And Gonzalez has really stepped up his game this year. The 7th touchdown catch of the season. Gonzalez with more yardage than any other tight end in the NFL. And the Chiefs jump up early. 14-0 over Minnesota. rolling their eyes.
Trying to change their last name.
My son, Belly Boy.
That's a very effective look. What do you do when you you rest it on a rail? That's what you do.
Jeff George hasn't been able to get anything going. Sacked twice, fumbled once, threw one away under pressure, and has a net -16 passing total. Williams and Tate deep to receive again. Very short this time. Hit at the 19. And Tate hurdles out to the 26. Mike Cloud upended him. The rookie from Boston College. Got a timeout on the field. Back after this. They needed on top. 14-0. 3:01 to go first quarter. Robert Smith drags tongue across the 30.
This place has not been kind to Jeff George, and we have 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, and he's already been sacked twice. Watch this. Derek Thomas on the outside. That's one bang. Here comes Leslie O'Neal trying to block him with a back. That won't get it done. Jeff George is down twice, and there's 2:40 to go in the first quarter.
Last time he was here as a Raider quarterback, sacked 10 times. Smith again. Stutter steps for a couple. It'll bring up third and about 3.
But I still like what Ray Sherman is doing, the offensive coordinator. There it is right now. We identified Dave Atkins before. That's Ray Sherman, the offensive coordinator. I like the fact that he's come out running the football. He comes back and tries to throw, and they get a couple more sacks. This place is going to be impossible for his offense to operate in. Now you've got a manageable third down. It's critical that they protect and give George a chance.
Ford joins Smith in the backfield. Jake Reed is in as the third wide receiver.
And Derek Thomas is up top.
And Corey Stringer, the big right tackle, moved early. Well, they have that whole line gun shy right now.
False start. Offense, number 77. 5 yards. Still third down.
One of the things that you see throughout the league and in games when you go to a place as noisy as this place is, you've got to get up there in the line of scrimmage and go in a hurry. You can't be sitting there waiting.
George rolls away from pressure and throws incomplete, intended for Moss on a comeback route.
No matter what the outcome of that series is for the Vikings, I like the calls that Ray Sherman made. You got to execute it. You run, you try and pick up the third down. Now you put your defense out there. Sooner or later, this defense is going to have to step up and stop that Kansas City offense if they can.
There hasn't been a lot of stepping up in that defense all year long.
Now, if they don't step up here, it's going to be open season on Jeff George, and they're going to see a lot of those running backs of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Berger to punt to Vanover. Returnable kick this time from the 31. Vanover to the 47. Ball came loose, and they're saying it's down. No fumble. 16-yard return by Tamarick Vanover.
Tamarick Vanover takes this thing now. He fumbled the last one he tried to put on, and obviously the ground can't cause a fumble after he's been touched. The ball comes out, but that's twice that he has hit the ground, and twice the ball has come loose. Harold Morrow putting him on the ground.
He's going to be back in Gunther's doghouse in a hurry.
He's auditioning for it right now.
Excellent field position again for Kansas City. Play action Gerbeck. This should draw a flag and does. Kenny Wright covering Andre Rison and ran right up his front.
We talk about the wiliness of Chris Carter and how he knows how to use the rules.
Interference. Defense number 20. First down.
There's a case of Andre Rison doing the same thing.
You know, Kenny Wright, this is really heads up by Elvis Gerbeck. Watch this here. And then look at Rison. He's just fighting his way back to the ball. He knows he probably doesn't have a chance to get to it. Kenny Wright is there, and he just grabs him. Once he gets his hand in there, it's over.
That's a 30-yard penalty. Bennett. 15, 10.
You know, on that play right there, I don't even have any idea what Ed McDaniel was looking at. Ed McDaniel, number 58, the linebacker, is looking for a guy to block him. He's not looking at the runner.
Well, there was nobody on the corner.
Watch this on the outside. You're going to see number 58 come up, and he's looking right there. He is caught at the line of scrimmage. He was looking for someone to block him instead of looking at the ball carrier.
Bennett is in on 1st and goal. He'll lose a couple on this one. Arrowhead, it has been all Kansas City Chiefs. They are mugging the Minnesota Vikings. Look at the statistics. The Vikings minus 16-yard passing. That reflects the sacks. And it reflects a public mugging. Gerback intended for Gonzalez, who was tied up with McDaniel. The first quarter has been awful for Minnesota. Jeff George trying to change the play. Fumbled the snap from center. Kansas City came right back with Donnell Bennett and scored. And then Gerback, who has thrown the ball very well here in the first half, hit Gonzalez for a touchdown. And now the Chiefs are bidding for more Jeff George. 2 sacks. He's been hit 3 times and fumbled once.
And guys, this is the show me state, and they're showing how everybody, it can get really loud here, guys.
There are 2 flags down. One's going to be for interference. One is going to be for holding. So this play never happened. And that was the only break the Vikings have gotten so far. The hold was on Grunhard, the veteran center.
Kevin Grunhard, the center, was holding on the play. And there he is. And then there's also the pass interference. You know, that's not that. That's a tackle.
Gerback, good protection, throws in the corner. Touchdown. Gonzalez again. His second of the night.
And what they did is they came back with the same exact play. You got a real mismatch with Tony Gonzalez on Kaylee Wong. Kaylee Wong, this is only the 2nd year that he's really played up. He played down in college, so pass coverage certainly isn't going to be his strength. He tried to tackle Gonzalez the last time. Now he can't tackle him, and Tony goes down to make the play.
Gonzalez said he was embarrassed by the 13 drop passes he had a year ago. He said he'll still drop one every once in a while, but not many.
And we're really seeing a change of guard here as far as tight ends going to the Pro Bowl. Tony Gonzalez is certainly going to be one of them.
At home, when they've scored at least 21 points, that is the longest streak in NFL history. Right now, they have a 21-0 lead. So, good night, folks. Not with Minnesota's offense. Not with Minnesota's offense.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think the Kansas City Chiefs, 21 points. Don't stop doing what got you to 21 points. Don't go into a shell. I think they should still throw the ball down the field because they are going up against the worst pass defense in football.
And I think Minnesota has to just try and find some sense of rhythm in their offense. Neither Carter nor Moss have a reception. Of course, they haven't had a chance to be able to protect him long enough so that Jeff George could get the ball to him.
Another very short kick, and Tate explodes through a hole, still on his feet. Tate in a foot race, he'll go the distance. Touchdown, Minnesota. 77 yards.
And this whole thing is on poor tackling.
Paul, you're absolutely right. Carlton Gray had him dead to rights and let him run right through his arms.
More than Carlton Gray. I mean, when you got a guy, first of all, this ball was kicked so short, and Tate gets it on the run. Now watch it. One block there, and right up the middle he goes. One block, one tackle missed, two tackles missed, three. I mean, that's just poor tackling. And a great run by Tate.
Robert Tate was a wide receiver. He's been converted to defensive back. Had one catch last year. And they, talking to Chris Carter, he said, hey, look, and Chris Dolan, this kid here can be some kind of a DB for us as well.
The Vikings only had 9 guys on the field for the point after. They've got to hustle to beat the play clock. And just did. Gary Anderson with the point after. And the Vikings strike in a hurry on a 77-yard kickoff return. Will now go down and cover the kickoff after taking one back 77 yards as a return man.
Heck, Paul, when you were 24, you'd go down, you'd kick it and run down.
I could go like 4 days without water when I was that age.
That's why your nickname was Camel, wasn't it?
2 stomachs.
Thank you.
Vanover. Now Bennett stepped in front of him, and Donnell Bennett across the 25 to the 27.
You talk about bad tackling by Carlton Gray, but Pete Stoyanovich, the kicker, really gets in the way. He doesn't even make an effort. Watch number 10. He's the left part of your screen. Here comes Tate. At least fall down in front of him, Pete. Do something. That is one of the most lame efforts I've ever seen on a kick return in my life. You're still wearing the uniform, knock him on the ground. That really goes on the kicker. Short kick, try and make a play.
Lame, huh?
Bam Morris out to the 29. ESPN Classic Bowl Week kicks off tomorrow. 7 straight nights of college football's classic bowl games. Tomorrow night at 9, the Sugar Bowl from '92, Notre Dame and Florida. Later in the week, you'll see the '79 Sugar Bowl, Penn State, Alabama. Many other classics as well. To order ESPN Classic, dial 1-800-CLASSIC or call your local cable provider. Gerback has had tremendous protection. Throws this one away, had double coverage on Kevin Lockett.
Chris Dolman, been around a long time, Joseph, and he loved to play the game. We spent about a half an hour with him last night, and he is really a funny man. But he said, I'm having a great time. You know what I really enjoy doing? Here I am, 38 years old, and I'm knocking all these young people down.
And he insisted there have been several things written that said he's playing the run better than ever. And he says, look, I always played the run good.
Well,
Don't give me that.
He says, I have over 1,000 tackles. I don't have 1,000 sacks. He played it well.
Richardson explodes up the middle. And the Viking defense is just being gashed. That one for 27.
All Tony Richardson is doing is picking up where he left off against the Denver Broncos a week ago. Tim Grunnert, the center, and Will Shields, number 78. Again, the middle. Watch the 2 big guys in the middle. They're just going to cave it, and then right up comes Richardson. There they are. Randall gets turned out. Grunnert takes the other side, and there he goes. And here comes Tony Richardson. Look at the moves for a big man. Thought he could just run straight. Ha!
Gerback, nice play action. Throws short. It's complete. Caught by Kevin Lockett. And the way the Kansas City offense is going, you wonder even if Minnesota's vaunted offense can score enough points.
I don't think that Minnesota's defense has the ability to stop what Jimmy Ray wants to do. They've got mismatches because of youth in the secondary. And the other thing is, Jimmy gets a chance to call these things the way he wants against Foge's defense, because they're running the football. That's the key to what Kansas City is doing.
Kansas City has already racked up 170 yards in total offense. Bennett bounces off and just tripped up. He'll pick up 3. Good tackle by Hitchcock. Saved another 5 yards at least.
Donnell Bennett goes into the line of scrimmage, and there was just nothing there. Bounces back out and picks up 2 yards on the play.
Last year, they made him the featured back. He was a 2-year starter at fullback at Miami. Really didn't get it done, and ever since then, they have been running by committee.
Well, what they've done is also he's put some weight back on, and he's really a tweener now. Running about 245 gives you another one of those big backs.
2nd and 7. Nice fake by Gerback. Incomplete. That one was right in the hands of Derek Alexander.
They had this thing set up so nicely. I mean, Joe, you're right. Running the football sets up the play action, go down the field. Derek Alexander is down there. The ball, not behind him. Any receiver makes this catch. Look at here. Just look it in. Catch the ball.
And he's their leading receiver. Had 44 coming into tonight, averaging over 16 yards a catch.
He had some drops in Baltimore. His previous home came over last year.
Leader in the wide receivers. Tony Gonzalez is leading the team at the tight end position.
3rd and 7. That would have been a big first down. Richardson. About 3 yards shy, and here comes the field goal team.
Boy, you look at this Kansas City Chiefs team, 21 points on the board so far. The way they're running the football against the Minnesota Vikings, they're not gonna go for it on 4th down, obviously, but it makes you think sometimes when you run the ball that well.
Stoyanovich has hit 25 straight here on Arrowhead. This is from 45 yards.
No.
Not even close. Not a good start for Stoyanovich, but the rest of his teammates are having a ball. They're up on the Vikings 21-7. Kansas City, and this is a downtown skating rink where people are out celebrating a little pre-holiday action.
Took me 3 hours to get that thing on the ceiling last night.
I'll bet it did. Jeff George. Moss just snatched it out of the air, and George was under pressure again. His first completion of the night.
Oh, Randy Moss, you talk about timing the ball perfectly. Watch this. Randy Moss down the field. Watch this jump. Perfect timing.
But he would have never been able to get it off unless Robert Smith had squared up on Derek Thomas. Gave Jeff just enough time to get the ball in the air.
Draw play. Smith shakes a tackle down to the 36-yard line. They really missed Robert Smith when he was out with hernia surgery. And then when he came back, he really didn't run all that well. Needed some more time to recover.
Well, they came into this game and they wanted to run him a lot more. And first of all, because of the noise, and run the football with Robert Smith. But then you get behind 21-0. Kind of hard to do.
2nd and 5. Blitz coming. George unloads. It's incomplete. Intended for Reed. Moss and Carter, two of the most dangerous receivers in all of football, have a combined 1 catch. Jeff George has only had time to throw to both of them combined 3 times in a quarter and a half. Tough to throw when you're flat on your back.
The pressure now goes on the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings. They've got to give Jeff George enough time, and I promise you he's going to go looking for Chris Carter. He's been the man that he's looked to in this situation, and this will be another one.
Chiefs come with a blitz. Draw play. Smith. Robert Smith gets in front of the sticks. That's a good call. The Chiefs brought a lot of people.
It's an excellent call. And Derek Thomas's linebackers, when you're running at a quarterback without looking for the run first, no matter when you blitz, you must first look at run. 58. Derek Thomas, look at him. He runs right by Robert Smith. Now, Robert Smith ran into his own men. Leroy Hort, and still picks up the first down.
7 runs, 43 yards for Smith. Smith again. Hurdles across the line inside the 25. Chester McLaughlin made the tackle along with Bart.
Isn't it amazing with just one spark, one mistake will do to you? Gunther Cunningham's team through the whole first quarter, they're controlling this thing. All of a sudden you miss a tackle, you get a lack of effort. Now all of a sudden you breathe life back into the Vikings.
And they had nearly 80,000 people going nuts on every play. Leroy Horde lost his footing and goes down in the backfield. Williams covered him immediately.
Yeah, he lost his footing. He's about to get hammered.
Dan Williams playing defensive end, back 97, had 10.5 sacks. They really want to move him back inside. Give Mark Ward, number 67, a chance to play at some point. They'd like to get Dan Williams matched up inside with Chester McLaughlin at some point.
Well, they missed him last year when he held out. 3rd and 10. Blitz coming again from the corner. Incomplete pass, double coverage on Reed.
That was one of the few times that Jeff George had time to throw the ball.
He seems to be getting a little bit more. Eric Warfield, number 44 on Randy Moss. He won't let him go outside. Excuse me, Jake Reed makes him go up inside.
Gary Anderson, who has really struggled this year after perfection in 1998, will try one from 45 yards. Way short. Both kickers unable to get much into it on a cold night. Is it the kicking ball or is it the kicker? 21-7. On television and online. Log on to ESPN.com or NFL.com and click on the enhanced TV logo. Shortly, we'll be taking you live to the internet. We have a trivia question for you tonight. Donnell Bennett and Dwayne Rudd has him. Excellent play to stop the momentum by Tony Williams. Let's go live. A couple of plays to think about. Gerbeck. That one's complete to Alexander. Just shy of a first down. Antonio Banks on the coverage.
And that was a 5-step drop by Elvis Gerbeck. Now, it is the one drop that he has had trouble with. Gunther Cunningham took some time to look at him on film. He broke every one of his drops down, and the 5-step drop was the one he had the most trouble. He wasn't getting it out quick enough. Watch this. Quick 5-step, get the ball out to Alexander. Now he's rushing it. Now he's getting it out on time.
Ooh. They'll try to get it on the ground, and it didn't even look close. He needed to reach the 46-yard line and barely got across the 45. Tony Richardson, the big fullback, stopped in his tracks. All right, gentlemen, here's the question again. Who scored the most career touchdowns at Arrowhead? Your answers.
Paul?
B.
A. Marcus Allen.
Paul selects Christian Okoye. Joe takes Marcus Allen, and it's Christian Okoye.
Oh, baby. How many did I get for that, 100?
Well, you're going to get close.
Paul, congratulations.
Way to go, Paul.
Yeah. They didn't make this thing, and they're going to punt the ball because you sure don't want to make a mistake. Yeah, look at that. Hey.
Paul's within 42 points, and if we never play pick the plays again, you have a chance.
They're going to punt this ball away, and that's the smart thing to do. You don't make a mistake here.
Randy Moss will go back to take the punt. His long this year is 25, but with that speed, he could break it in a heartbeat. Daniel Pope, the rookie from Alabama, to punt. Beautiful kick. Moss back to the 7. Lost his footing and went down at the 15. 8-yard return after a pretty punt. 48 yards from Pope. ESPN Sunday Night Football is brought to you by from Special Teams. Thomas nearly had George again, and then Dan Williams does. And a flag is down as well.
They're still doing that. They're trying to block Derek Thomas with the running back, Robert Smith.
They're going to wind up with a face mask penalty, though. They got there so quick, he grabbed Jeff's face mask.
The referees, Mike, we understand, is inoperative.
56.
Well, I guess they fixed
it.
it.
It's a 5-yard penalty, but since it left the ball short of the line first down, it is returned to the previous spot. Repeat, first down.
Should be 58, Derek Thomas. Here comes Derek Thomas. Robert Smith is blocking on him. He reaches in and grabs Jeff George's mask, and Dan Williams makes the sack.
Robert Smith is being asked to do something that's very, very difficult
for anybody.
Thomas coming again, and he'll chase the play from behind and gets a lot of help. Williams is in there. The #1 passing offense in the NFL has 7, count them, 7 yards in the first half.
And see, I think the Minnesota Vikings on offense, Ray Sherman's got to do something to help out his tackles if Derek Thomas is there. He is getting such a jump off the ball. The tackle doesn't have a chance to block him, and he's getting a big running start on the backs. He's going to have to double him somehow.
Robert Smith is 212, Thomas is 255, and he gets a running start, as you said. George unloads. Jake Reed makes the catch up at the 24-yard line. They needed to reach the 25 for the first down.
I'm sitting up here, and it looked just like Derek Thomas was offside. The jump that he gets is absolutely incredible. Watch it, folks.
He's always had that first step.
All right, this is real time. Watch Derek Thomas. The ball's... Well,
he was early, wasn't he?
He was early.
No, you know what he does, though? He raises up and doesn't go forward. He is moving quick, but he comes up and then goes forward.
Third and a yard, Leroy Horde is the blocking back. Now George scrambles. And Moss dropped it. Randy Moss had a first down and couldn't hold it. Chris Dishman was there.
What's the difference in 98 and 99 for Randy Moss? You just saw it. He hasn't come up with the big plays, but he's dropped an awful lot of footballs lately. Does a good job of working. They play him off. Dishman's on him. He's got the play. Just concentrate and focus. He looks to try and run with the football. Watch his head. See him turn away? He used to have so much confidence in just making sure he was going to catch the ball.
And I don't remember him dropping anything last year.
Now he's starting to fight him.
Vanover telling everybody to get away from it. They'll let it roll. And it takes a good Vikings bounce all the way down to the 25-yard line. A punt of 51 yards. Monday Night Countdown. Tomorrow night at 7. Mike Tirico, Tom Jackson, and Sterling Sharp with all the latest news around the league. Then at 9, it's ABC's Monday Night Football. The Denver Broncos head to Jacksonville to battle Mark Brunell and the Jaguars. ESPN and ABC, your exclusive networks for primetime NFL football. Mike Cloud in at running back. The rookie will get the carry. Bounces off the tackle and crosses the 30. Kenny Wright made the stop.
You know, when you watch these running backs for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I don't care who you put in the backfield, they have so much confidence in their offensive line. They know that if they just keep their legs driving, that these guys will move people around and there'll be an opening, even if there's not an opening at the initial point of attack.
Well, it is a wonderful offensive line. Veterans, guys that know how to play. Joined by the youngster, Victor Riley. This time, McDaniel is in there along with Jerry Ball and Tony Richardson wrapped up before he can get started.
There is the difference of a defensive line and linebackers. When they went this time, Joe, they're looking for the run because they know that Kansas City's going to run the football. It's a lot different than Kansas City when they know they're going to throw the ball. Here's this defensive line. Now watch these guys right in the middle of the field. Jerry Ball, 96. I mean, he just gets an outstanding jump on the ball when he pushes Dave Zott, 79, back into the runner.
3 wide receiver set. Now make it 4 on 3rd and 6. Gonzalez, the tight end in the slot. Gerback throws the pass intended for Horn, but it hit the ground in front of him incomplete. And the Kansas City offense not as productive now as it was early.
Bogue's defense settled on in. Did a much better. They're doing, as the game goes on, they're continuing to play better and better, especially the guys up front. They're starting to gain a little momentum.
And now Moss will get another chance at a punt return. Steps all the way up to his own 34. This will take a neutral bounce in Minnesota territory at the 38-yard line. Punt of only 33 yards and pushing and shoving after the play.
Well, I'll tell you, the punter went down in a hurry, but must have been somebody blocked into it, because they're looking around saying, wait a minute, this guy gets wiped out. Pope gets wiped out, and there's no call.
Check in with Solomon Wilcott. Solly?
Yeah, Mike. Minnesota free safety Orlando Thomas is out with a hamstring injury. And Orlando, you guys that came in, you wanted to try to stop the run. So far, Kansas City has been effective. Why have they been effective running the ball in this game?
Right now, their front line is just doing a real good job of getting guys off the line of scrimmage. They're able to move the ball. They're just doing a real good job up front.
Antonio Banks gets his first start at strong safety. His performance so far in this game?
He's doing real well. He's been able to come up and make a couple of plays on the run. He hasn't been in the pass plays yet because they haven't thrown the ball inside. But he's done a good job thus far.
Okay, Orlando, thank you. Mike, back to you.
All right, Saul, thanks very much. And Jeff George just did a remarkable job to get away from pressure and hit Chris Carter for 22 yards.
He got away from Derek Thomas, and they had Andrew Glover, number 82, the tight end, blocking. Look, he just goes right by Jeff George. He doesn't see him. George gets out, makes the throw. Carter makes the catch.
Chris doing a nice job. Now look at him keep working. He keeps working. Keeps working. And that's what'll happen. Jeff George, if he starts to scramble around, he'll try and hunt up Chris Carter. Somebody else now will have to step up and take over leadership in that huddle.
Reed is normally the third receiver. Hatchett normally comes in as the fourth man. He trots on the field now on first down and 10. Thomas around the end, and Smith drops the screen. Flag is down. And the preliminary call is against Minnesota.
Interference. Offense number 86. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
It's the veteran Jake Reed.
On Jake Reed, number 86. Being covered, Eric Warfield, number 44. Watch this. Yeah, you can't do. Not on a pass play before the ball is thrown. You can't do that.
So it's first and 20. Draw play to Smith. He's horse-collared by McLaughlin. Well, now they appear to have changed their blocking scheme on Derek Thomas. They've got an offensive lineman blocking him again instead of a running back.
Well, it works out okay. If you're going to bring an offensive lineman out to block Derek Thomas, that means that another offensive lineman's going to have to block Chester McLaughlin one-on-one. And he's having such an outstanding year that there isn't anybody in that line.
The Kansas City Chiefs, with a win tonight, could tie for first place. Right now, the Vikings are hanging on by their fingertips after spotting Kansas City 21 points. Second and 17. Bad snap. Blitz coming. George unloads. Moss. About 3 yards shy of a first down. Carlton Gray with a stop. It's go to Solomon Wilcott. Solly.
Yeah, Mike, the injury to Chris Carter is a right ankle sprain. He's been trying to warm up on the sideline. He appears to be in a lot of pain. Right now, I'm told that his return is probable. You know, with Chris Carter's intensity, he's going to try to get back into this game. Right now, trying to go back on the field, they had to pull him back onto the sideline.
All right, Sol, 6-time Pro Bowler. You know he wants to be in there. Horn on the draw. Danced around, didn't have a chance. Brought down Donnie Edwards and Marcus Patton.
This is where Dennis Green's got to make a decision. I think what he should do is let the clock run down a little bit and go for it on 4th down. I believe they're out of Gary Anderson's range to try a field goal, and this is the right thing to do. You don't want to leave a lot of time on the clock. You let it keep running.
Well, he hasn't made one over 40 all year, and he missed from far shorter than this earlier. 4th down. George with time for Moss. You throw him a jump ball, he's going to get it.
James Hasty had no chance. He really didn't have any chance. And what Gunther's saying is that Randy Moss was pushing off the whole way down. We'll let you see it. Randy Moss, you throw that ball short. Here it is with James Hasty. Hasty's 40, Randy Moss. Now, what they're saying right here, he's got his arm out. They're both pushing each other. I just think this is an outstanding throw and catch.
And they're not, very seldom will they call offensive pass interference on a wide receiver. They'll call it more on the tight ends than they will the wide receiver.
Big first down for Minnesota. And now Thomas comes across. It looked like he moved before Stussy did.
This should be against the Kansas City Chiefs. Jeff George points his finger to audible in the direction of Todd Stussy. Thomas moves, and Stussy reacted.
Neutral zone violation. Infraction. Number 58. 5 yards. Still first down.
You'll see Jeff George just raise his hand. Just raise his hand to the left. Todd Stussy, as soon as he raises his hand, Derek Thomas moves and Stussy reacts. That's a good call.
They seem fast,
but see, that gives you an idea what Derek is reading, though. He's not necessarily reading the snap of the ball. He's reading the movements of Jeff George. One of those little things you pick up as you study film.
This is a huge series for the Vikings. A touchdown would cut it to 7. George over the middle, Hatchett, touchdown. He beat Hasty inside, and you've got to hand it to Minnesota. This is some comeback.
Well, they've got the weapons. And Randy Moss is the guy that's stepping up and making plays. Yes, he's dropped one, but he's made 2 great catches so far in this game.
Hasty, their most physical corner. Just tremendous skills, and Hatchett beat him on the post.
I'll tell you what, that thing was there in a heartbeat.
Oh, from Jeff George, it always is. Anderson with the point after him with 40 seconds to go in the half. The Vikings have scored 14 unanswered, and it's 21-14.
James Hasty has got Matthew Hatchett locked up in the slot. That's kind of, there's Hatchett, there's Hasty. What happens, you'll see Hasty's going to go outside. Hatchett's going to come on down inside. Good job by the line, giving him time. He just comes inside. Doesn't get a hand on him, bails on him a little bit, looking for a different route.
Matthew Hatchett with a chance to contribute with Chris Carter on the sideline with that ankle sprain. He can be a good cheerleader, too.
Well, that's the slot position that Chris Carter plays all the time.
And Jeff George has rebounded from incredible harassment at the beginning of this game to bring his team back.
Well, he said to us yesterday, Jeff George, about this team, he said, I'm very confident going into tonight's game. He said, with the offense that we have, the people are playing, if our defense can hold, we'll be fine.
40 seconds to go in the half. Now Berger, who is a tremendous kickoff guy, gets off a terribly short kick. Taken by Cloud, one of the upbacks. And Mike Cloud hammers his way out to the 29. There's a flag down on this one. And this will set the Chiefs back.
Holding during the return, number 57. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Mike Maslowski with the hold. The college football bowl season kicks off next Saturday on ESPN2 with the EA Sports Las Vegas Bowl. The Utah Utes, tri-champions of the Mountain West, take on the 8-4 Fresno State Bulldogs of the WAC. Tune in for all the action starting at 6 Eastern. Kansas City, as you might expect, conservative in the late stages of the half, deep in their own territory. And Richardson will carry it out.
Well, the Vikings are taking a timeout. They have 3 timeouts. They can take them and force these guys to punt the ball.
Well, not only, look who they're punting the ball to. They'd be putting it to Randy Moss. And I saw a little bit of a glimmer as he starts to get up to speed and he gets going. If he hits a crack for Dennis Green's kick return team, I don't think too many people are going to catch him.
You know that one he ran back here and he slipped and he fell. He saw the crease and he just, you get your feet going a little bit too fast and he slipped and fell.
The other thing about putting Randy Moss back on punt returns, it keeps him focused and involved in the game. Talking to him yesterday, he said one of the things that happened in the Monday night game against Tampa, he lost focus. And, you know, whether he got bored or not, I'm not quite sure. He even mentioned that. But he loses focus sometimes. He won't now. They've got him on the field as much as they can.
2nd and 3. The timeouts would be academic if Kansas City can get a first down. Richardson won't get it this time. Still a couple of yards shy, and Minnesota will use its 2nd timeout.
Derek Thomas has been a problem for Jeff George and the Minnesota Vikings. Gunther Cunningham, he was in his doghouse. He was the guy that he picked on all week, said he wasn't doing the job. This is the first play of the game against Todd Stussy. Just comes around the corner. Then look at his quickness off the ball as he chases down Robert Smith. And here he is. Now they put a tight end on him and forces Jeff George inside and almost gets there before he makes the big completion to Chris Carter.
They've run at him 6 times for 13 yards. He's made 2 tackles, has 1 sack, and has harassed Jeff George a couple of times. He is no longer the focus of this defense. He's been moved to left outside linebacker, but we have seen him line up on his favorite spot, the right outside, several times.
He's the focus tonight, I can tell you.
Yes, he is. Jeff George sees him wherever he is. 3rd and 2. Richardson, first down and more. Barreling through tacklers out to the 47-yard line.
Now, if you're Kansas City, you take a timeout because you have 2 left. What Gunther will do now is they'll talk about it. Jimmy Ray will talk about it with Elvis Grbac, the offensive coordinator. Now they'll come up to try and hit a pass play. My guess would be somewhere in the middle of the football field. Get it down around the 30, 35-yard line.
Kansas City has already rushed for 123 yards tonight.
Good job on the right side. Tony Gonzalez, we know he can catch the football. Now you look at the job he's done in blocking. This has plagued Minnesota all year. Missed tackles in the secondary. Giving up huge runs.
Richardson gets low, doesn't he? Nothing to hit but knees and shoulder pads.
Well, yeah, when you're a defensive back, everybody seems to want to strip the ball. Make the tackle first.
Grbac trying to get in position for a field goal. Horn! Right off his shoulder pad.
Horn took his eye off the ball.
Yeah, but I also think maybe Chris Rogers might have just gotten a piece of that, and it changed its flight.
All right, Joe Horn, number 84. Chris Rogers is down there, number 29. Watch this. Look at Horn. Does he get a piece of it? I don't think so.
I do.
But I mean, that ball hits Horn right.
See, he just does catch a piece of it.
Good job.
And really, Horn's trying to catch a knuckleball.
Yeah, it's almost impossible when that thing changes direction. They go on the draw with Bennett. He gets to the 46-yard line, but time will expire. And the Kansas City Chiefs will be more than content to take a 21-14 lead into the locker room. End of the first half. Kansas City 21 minutes. Half. Kansas City will get the football. And the Chiefs have won 48 straight games at home when they have scored 21 points or better. That is an NFL record. You have to wonder if 21 will stand up now as they had 21 unanswered. Vanover waiting just inside his 5 for Berger. From the 12. Upended at the 30. Here's how the Vikings got back in this ball game. The punt return, the kick return, poor tackling, poor effort. And then George hits Hatchett wide open in the end zone. They have 14.
That's the first kickoff return for anybody in the decade against the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, if they had 11 guys trying to make tackles over there instead of 10, it might not have happened. Denny Green now has got to feel good about where his football team is. They've put some momentum together. They've got to keep it going now.
Bam Morris powers his way out to the 35-yard line. Take a look at those first half statistics. They were certainly lopsided in the first quarter. Even up a little more, although Kansas City still dominant with 225 yards to 123. The 3 sacks by Kansas City early as they harass George.
It's obvious that they're going to have to Minnesota shut this running game down.
They've had no success so far. Richardson will pick up 4. Or Morris will pick up 4. Let's go to Solomon Wilcots.
Yeah, Mike, at halftime, the Chiefs players in their locker room, they were very upset the fact they let the Vikings back in this game after taking a 21-point lead. Gunther Cunningham says there's no way he expected 21 points to beat the Minnesota Vikings. He said he needs better play from the special teams, and he wants more points on the board here in the second half, Mike.
All right, Solomon, and Antonio Banks is the injured player. The Vikings already so very. And Anthony Bass, the second-year man out of Bethune-Cookman, comes into the secondary. Bennett and Richardson are the backs on third and very short. Gerback rifles at the horn, first down. The tackle made by Bass, who just checked in.
And really, there has been such a maturity in Elvis Gerback. Joe Horn, one of the young receivers, now working into the lineup a lot more than Andre Rison. And you see him, this is short yardage. They run the play action against Kenny Wright. Does a nice job of pushing it. Watch him stop. Bang. Now come back to the ball. Give him a square target. Good job.
He was the only guy out in the pattern.
Mike Cloud on the draw. Only a couple.
This is the longest that Elvis Gerback has been able to stay healthy in a season. And really, he said when he hit week 9, everything started to clear up for him. And that's really been a key for him, is to stay healthy enough to stay on the field. He's become a real leader of this team. He's a playmaker. He's starting to make suggestions back to Jimmy Ray, which he started to do a couple weeks ago. And Jimmy's thrilled to get the input from what's going on the field. Really taken over as the quarterback of this team.
Play action. Pressured. And throws it away. The one thing they emphasized in preseason, Paul, they wanted Gerback to do just what he did on that play. Throw the ball away if he's in trouble and not take the big hits that had taken him out of ball games in the past.
Well, there would have been times when Elvis Gerback would have stopped and to set up to try to throw the ball and force the completion. And that's not what they want any quarterback to do in the National Football League. If it's not there, get rid of it, and let's go back again.
Donnell Bennett is the single setback. They go with 3 wide receivers on 3rd and 9. Gerback. Lockett was wide open, then makes the move and gets the first down.
When you run a blitz, you cannot play corner and get off these guys that far. You can't give them that much room. You look on the outside. Look at the room on the outside. That's the corner. Jimmy Hitchcock, and he misses the tackle. I mean, that's ridiculous.
That's really inviting the first down. Bennett. Dwayne Rudd hit him first and then got a lot of help.
Elvis Gerback has done a nice job of spreading the ball out across the field. Look at the pass chart. You see, you got 8 balls to the right. You got 4 balls down the middle, 3 balls to the left. But the efficiency, in particular down the middle, you got 2 big plays down the middle of the field. The one there to Joe Horn setting up the field position they're in right now. Chris Carter trying that ankle out. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back in. I mean, he looked like he could barely move, but he'll get out there.
Gerbeck, play action, scrambling again. And throws incomplete. Gonzalez was covered perfectly by Antonio Banks. The crowd wanted a flag, but they won't get it.
Well, John Randall, we said they moved him to defensive end. We haven't talked about him at all this evening. And here comes John Randall up the field. He forces him back to the outside. The other guy that was there was chasing down Gerbeck was Jerry Ball at 700 pounds.
And he's not going to catch him.
He had an angle.
Little different.
He had an angle.
Little different than having like a Derek Thomas case.
Randall with only 4 sacks this year, far under his normal production. Gerbeck fumbles the snap from center. The ball still loose. The Vikings have it.
Does this not strangely resemble the beginning of the game when Jeff George did the same thing coming away from center? A quick snap for the Vikings. The Chiefs have the ball. A missed snap now for the Kansas City Chiefs. Great break for the Minnesota.
Lead by 7, but they've handed the ball to the Minnesota Vikings on the fumbled snap from center at the 26. Moss to the top of your screen, Reed to the bottom. Robert Smith with a carry, breaks the tackle. Robert Smith, midfield and more. There is a marker down back at the 30. That's in the area where it's usually called holding.
Man, oh man, oh man. You get a turnover, you get a great run from the back. You got guys holding.
Holding. Offense, number 62.
Jeff Christie.
Repeat the down. First down.
Wipes out a 27-yard run. You tack on the penalty. It's a net loss of 37 yards.
You know, with a team that's struggling, and again, they come back in the second half. You get a turnover, you get the ball, you get a good field position, and you give it back to them.
Four-man rush. They want the screen to Smith. Hasty, solid tackle at the 30. Let's check in with Solomon Wilcots.
Yeah, Mike, in the first half, Chris Carter, well, he injured his ankle on a second quarter play. Now at halftime, he walked by me in the tunnel and he told me, he says, hey, I've had a lot of sprained ankles, but none as bad as this one. He said he doubted if he'll be able to return to the ball game. At halftime, I talked with Denny Green. He said the x-rays were negative. It's up to Chris as to whether or not he's going to be able to play, but Chris told me it doesn't look pretty good.
Well, that's a real blow, Solomon, for Minnesota's chances because Carter has been the go-to guy this year.
And you know something? I don't necessarily agree with this. That's Ray Sherman, the offensive coordinator there, and Chris Carter is sort of in his ear a little bit. And I think you got to let Ray do a job.
Or to have him out of the game for very long. Warfield will check in at that spot. Dishman is the other corner. Draw play to Horde. Leroy Horde drags tacklers up to the 35-yard line. Needed to reach the 36 for a first down.
You look at the last couple of plays that Minnesota has called on offense. You've got a screen. You've got a draw. They're counting on the Kansas City Chiefs to bring pressure up the field. Ray Sherman wants him to come after Jeff George.
Third and a yard. Horde got the first down and more. They're taking a page out of Kansas City's playbook.
Yeah, and you really, I love all three plays that they call. Dave Dixon is going to block. He is number 71 on 75, Chester McLaughlin. And they just go right over top. Watch this. The block is there, and Leroy Horde cuts it back to the outside. The reason I like Leroy Horde is because his feet never stop.
Here comes the blitz. George with time to step up and throws a strike to Reed. First down to the Kansas City 45-yard line.
Joseph, isn't it amazing how many passes you can complete when you have protection?
Yeah, when you're standing up, it's amazing how you can throw the football. Gunther Cunningham trying to bring pressure. Now the Minnesota Vikings are stepping up, but there's the coverage. Now, if you have time and you're in press coverage, you can't stay with somebody forever. Jake Reed against Chris Dishman.
Reed out of an early season slump. Smith, big hole. Robert Smith, nearly 10 yards to the Kansas City 35. Derek Thomas downfield to make another tackle.
You know, the thing that the Minnesota Vikings are doing, Joe, they're speeding it up a little faster. I mean, getting their plays.
Well, they're in a rhythm. Jeff Christie, number 62, what he'll do is he'll come out and pull. You watch what he creates when he gets out there. That's how hard is it for a center. You pull, you snap the ball, you lead, and you block the linebacker. You block the middle linebacker, Marcus Patton. What a terrific job.
Second and inches. George throws intended for Reed, but sailed way over his head. They were looking originally on the right side for Randy Moss. They wanted him a little stutter step and go, and the defense was not buying it.
Well, they had triple coverage on Reed and double coverage on Moss. There was no place to throw the ball.
Well, I'll tell you, Chris Dishman, though, has got Randy Moss locked up pretty much one-on-one, and he just was not going to allow him to get up the field. Dish is really playing well.
Third and inches. Horde back in as the tailback. Leroy Horde. And he's got the first down inside the 35. ESPN Sunday Night Football continues next week with an interconference matchup. Doug Flutie and the Buffalo Bills head to the desert to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Join Joe, Paul, and me right after prime time at 8:15 Eastern. ESPN and ABC, your exclusive networks for prime time NFL football.
I think this is the time when you can take a shot if you want, but why? When you've got an offensive line that's doing the job that these guys are doing now.
Remember, 3 of these offensive linemen went to the Pro Bowl last year. Stussy, McDaniel, and Christie.
This is the only offensive line in the National Football League where all 5 of these guys have played every game. That's incredible.
It is, and that's one of the reasons they are still legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Smith hit in the backfield this time, and McLaughlin was in there before he could take a second step.
And this is the type of stuff you have seen from Chester McLaughlin only in spurts from time to time. But he's been very consistent in these type of plays.
Chester McLaughlin swim move over Christie. Christie loses him. Chester McLaughlin. As soon as you start talking about the offensive line, how good they are, they make a mistake.
No one man can block Chester McLaughlin.
No one man should block Chester McLaughlin. They can.
No one should try.
Third and 8. Blitz coming. George sidelines it to Reed. Jake Reed to the 15, first down, Vikings.
Was this a magnificent throw?
Who said that you have to throw the ball over the top, be perfect? I love somebody that has range in his delivery, and Jeff certainly does.
Well, we're in Kansas City. That was close to Quisenberry.
Well, that was coming from down. That was a Bernie Kosar breaking out. Watch this. He sees the hole. Look at that thing. There's one out on the side. Incredibly accurate and quick release.
Vikings trying to tie. Blitz coming. Horde on the draw. Edwards was there to make the tackle as he gained 2.
Yep.
Elvis Gerbach's turnover on the center snap gave Minnesota the ball near their own 25. That's what started this drive.
Minnesota picked up the momentum in the second quarter and has just carried it right over. And they've done a nice job of balancing the attack. More runs than passes on this drive.
James Hasty is back in the game at corner.
George to the end zone. Reed incomplete.
Randy, they do a nice job here. If Randy keeps getting jammed, the way you want to have that not happen is you move him in motion. He comes in motion. He makes the outside move on it. There he is in the hole in the middle. He is wide open. Jeff George doesn't focus on him, and oh, he is not happy. Kurt can't believe it. He got away. His defense got away with one.
Yes, they did. Can they get away with another one? Blitz again. Moss one-on-one with Dishman. Touchdown.
You could see that one from the snap of the ball. That was purely work between a quarterback and a wide receiver. This was not a design play.
Watch him raise his hand now to let him know he's out there by himself. Watch this. Here he is. I'm there. Get it to me now. And watch the run. Watch how quick he gets upfield. He's 11 yards from the end zone when he caught the ball.
To me, he has physical skills unlike anybody who has ever played wide receiver. And it is tied. Anderson, the comeback for the Minnesota Vikings at one point down 20 early. Have tied it with 4:34 to go third quarter, and they have Kansas City reeling. Berger to kick. Vanover waits at his 2. Vanover from the 13. And the special teams cut him down at 23. The pressure shifts back to the Kansas City offense, and Elvis Grbac so hot early. Hatchett and Chris Carter, his mentor, on the sideline. His numbers tonight, 4 catches, now 68 yards and a touchdown.
If you get the ball in his general area, you know, he's more times than not come down with it.
Donnell Bennett, the single setback. Play action by Elvis Grbac. Can't find anybody. And now brought down by Chris Dolman. Now 1.5 sacks away from 150 for his career.
Well, this is a coverage sack, and you give credit to the defensive secondary. Watch this now. Here's Hitchcock. They're covering deep. He knows he's got help in the middle. There's number 20, Kenny Wright. And you know, Gonzalez coming across the middle. They picked him up with the linebacker, 52 Wong. And Elvis Grbac has nowhere to throw the ball. Chris Dolman gets the sack.
Grbac again. This time he goes to Gonzalez. Got a block downfield and driven out of bounds up around the 33-yard line. Robert Griffith, who's back in the ball game after being injured, made a tackle. It's a gain of 12. Let's go to Solomon Wilcott. Solly?
Yeah, Mike, since the Vikings comeback, well, Arrowhead Stadium has grown silent. The decibel levels in the first quarter, well, it had an average of 110 decibels. That's equivalent to a rock concert. But since the game has been tied up on the Randy Moss touchdown here in the second half, well, it's been an average of 70 decibels. That's equivalent to a typewriter. It's also equivalent to the crowd sensing their team is in trouble, Mike.
And there's a flag, Solomon. And at one point, when the Vikings were getting ready to score again, it was the decibel level of a purring kitten.
Start. Offense. Number 66. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Victor Riley, the right tackle, moves.
Well, he gets down in his stance and then gets up and takes a hard left.
And it certainly changes what Gunther's going to want Jimmy Ray to call. When you're 3rd and 1, now you're 3rd and 6.
You have Bill Cowher in the league with the chin. You got Gunther Cunningham with the lip.
And John Gruden with the eyes.
Grbac over the middle. Nice grab. Gonzalez just reached out and speared it.
That's the first down.
Mike.
And he passed that gold ESPN first and 10 line.
For the last quite a few years, we've seen Ben Coates and Shannon Sharp go into the Pro Bowl. Now you're looking, I think, at a changing of the guard. We saw Ricky Dudley last week, who's been terrific, and Tony Gonzalez here on the move inside. But watch the catch. He starts to stop and then just goes and gets the football.
Big first down for Gonzalez. Leads the NFL in receiving yards for tight ends. Bennett hit in the backfield. Dwayne Rudd, the right side linebacker, second on the team in tackles, just shot the gap.
Well, one of the things, I mean, it's so obvious for anyone who's even watching this game. You know that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to run the football. And these guys don't even hesitate.
When you send a linebacker, when Foge wants his guys to go, they just cut them loose. Number 57 is going to come right up the middle and make the play. There he is, slides over, see him come right through the hole. You see Will Shields go by. He has to try and block someone else.
2nd and 12. Gonzalez again. Struggles for extra yardage, gets within 1 of another first down.
The versatility of Tony Gonzalez allows you to spread the field with a tight end that makes them put people out in coverage. It's a mismatch when you get a tight end out on a safety. I was fortunate enough to have a guy like Clint Didier I played with, the same thing. You see Antonio Banks, really a safety just starting, having to go out and play him as a wide receiver.
5 catches tonight, 54 for the year. 3rd and short, Gerback, play action. Gonzalez can't get this one. Hitchcock almost had it and dropped it when he hit the ground. Jimmy Hitchcock had a freebie.
But Tony Gonzalez was wide open. This is all on Gerback. He should have been able to hit this pass play. I mean, Gonzalez was wide open. He comes across the field. There is really nobody with him. Hitchcock happens to be, oh, by the way, I'm there. But the only reason that's there because Gonzalez had hits off his hand. Hitchcock wasn't in coverage.
Now Randy Moss will go back to take the punt. That's a break for the Vikings because that would have kept the chains moving for Kansas City. Poor kick off the side of his foot. Moss on the bounce and thrown back. Excellent defensive play. Lonnie Johnson on special teams. A loss of 2 on the return after a punt of only 31 yards. But we are tied at 21, 106. Seasonal clothing choice than it is for the warmth it provides on a cold night in Kansas City. Smith. Nowhere to go off the right side.
On that last drive, the receivers and Jeff George stepped up big. First of all, a pass to Reed. Jake Reed to the outside, number 86. And here comes the second one. A little sidearm shot to Reed. Picks up another first down. And then, of course, number 84. Randy Moss with the touchdown.
The numbers on George now 10 out of 17 after a horrid start when he was pressured on every play. Smith another draw. First down and more. Robert Smith to the 45-yard line.
When you get a team on defense coming upfield as fast as this team, Kansas City does, you've got to run screens and draws.
And Gunther Cunningham said, look, the one thing we've got to do is shut down the run. Certainly a healthy Robert Smith adds another weapon here.
He's had a big night, certainly had an impact, and the Vikings seem to have it going. 1st and 10, Minnesota. Robert Smith brought down for a loss by Dan Williams. ESPN Sunday Night Football is brought to you by Lee Dungarees. Can't bust them. By American Century with over 40 years of investment management experience. By Zocor. Talk to your doctor about Zocor today. And by Dell Computer. Be direct. Dell. Second and 12 for Jeff George and the Vikings. Blitz. Flags are down.
This doesn't even count.
Hatchett made the catch but out of bounds, and they'll bring this back.
Well, start. Offense. Number 77. 5 yard. Still second down.
That's the second one on the right tackle, Corey Stringer. Coming up next, Sports Center, Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen will be along. We'll have the NFL Blitz as everybody is fighting for a playoff spot. The Kings shall lead them, the Lions against the Bucks. And does Charles Barkley have any regrets in our Sunday conversation? Probably not.
And the game's going to miss Sir Charles, too.
Now 2nd and 17. George under pressure, hit as he throws, but Hatchett makes the catch at the Kansas City 39. What a throw by George.
What a throw by George, but he knows, and he can feel it because quarterbacks can. He knows he's going to get hammered. Derek Thomas is being blocked again by Robert Smith. Jeff George, here comes Derek Thomas, 58. Robert Smith grabs him. He's holding him. Jeff George knows he's going to get hurt and still delivers that, hit and still delivers that ball.
Hurt or hit, either one works, I think.
They get hurt when you get hit.
But a big first down on 2nd and 17. George again under pressure. Throws it away. And Kansas City wants an intentional grounding call. They didn't think he was anywhere near out of the tackle box.
This may be a late flag. Here comes the flag. There it is. That's a nice job of officials working together.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 3 is more than 10 yards. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. It is a loss of down.
Let's show you what it looks like. That's the box. Okay, we'll just leave it in there. And you can see if Jeff George manages to get out of it. Here comes the pressure. He's nowhere near out of the box, and there is not a receiver anywhere in the vicinity of where he wanted to throw the football.
Kansas City lobbied on that one and won. Now it's 2nd and 21. The penalty includes loss of down. And George wants a timeout. Didn't like the look of the defense that time. With a win would move into a tie with Detroit for that first wild card spot. And then in the AFC West, Seattle loses today, so Kansas City could move into a tie for first place for the division. And really, guys, this game has been 2 separate games. 21-0 for one, 21-0 for the other.
Well, I said, at the beginning of this game, what Kansas City needed to do was throw the ball down the field and go against the worst pass defense in the National Football League. They did it right off the bat. They did it a couple times, but they've been content running the ball. They've made some mistakes and given the ball back.
Yeah, well, really, they missed a lot of passes. The difference in this game is the drop balls that Minnesota had earlier in previous games, they're not doing that. They had 1 or 2. Now they're making all kinds of catches. Kansas City just keeps putting the ball on the ground and stopping themselves. Minnesota really hasn't stopped Kansas City tonight. I mean, you look at the statistics, and the Chiefs have really been their own nemesis. And the Vikes are rolling again.
George with the low snap, airs this one out. Moss. And he helps Dishman up.
How much confidence do you have to have in your ability to catch a football to try and catch it with one hand?
Well, I'll tell you another thing he did. Michael Irvin, I think he's been watching film on him. Watch him use his hand. Watch Randy Moss use his hand. Watch his left hand. Look at him. And then almost makes that one-handed catch.
Yeah, well, Dishman wouldn't let him use the other one.
Both Moss and Carter were practicing one-handed catches before the game started. They didn't drop one. Of course, they didn't have somebody draped on them either. 4-man rush. George is going to try to run for it and slides in at the 42. They need to reach the 29 for a first down, so didn't even threaten that.
A good move by the Vikings, though. What they've done is they've put Andrew Glover, the tight end, over on the left side where Derek Thomas is rushing from, and it gives Jeff George a chance to at least step up in the pocket. A bigger body on him.
Vanover will drop back to his 10 as Berger will punt on 4th and long. End over end. Vanover, fair catch at the 9. Punt of only 34 yards, but no return. 12-14 to go in the ball game, and Kansas City Night Football is brought to you by Sun Microsystems. We're the dot in .com. By ESPN Sports Century, the perfect gift in bookstores now. By Wrangler, real comfortable jeans. By 10-10-3-2-1, now just 8 cents a minute for calls over 10 minutes. And by for Christmas, just gorgeous. Donnell Bennett dragged down from behind at the 27 by Antonio Banks.
And he got taken down very awkwardly. He gets pulled down from behind.
That was a 17-yard burst.
Donnell Bennett's going to break off the right side behind Victor Riley. There comes the move. There's a good block by Lonnie Johnson. Now watch how he gets grabbed by Banks. He pulls him down from behind, and it's like his heels get caught as he comes down.
It's almost like when Chris Carter got hurt, where the body was underneath his leg.
Banks winds up landing on his right ankle as well.
They had
left ankle, excuse me.
Lost Rashawn Sheehy coming into the ball game, and Bam Morris hurt a shoulder earlier in the game, so they have lost. If Bennett cannot come back in, 3 of their 5. They've both had their moments this year. It will be a first down for Kansas City at their own 26.
Certainly that guy there has had his moments tonight for the Minnesota Vikings.
Mike Cloud had his legs taken out from under him by Robert Griffin. Good tackle there.
Mike Cloud went to Gunther Cunningham earlier in the year. He said, "You put me on the field for 15 plays, coach, and you'll never take me out." I think he's going to get his chance to get more than 15 in this fourth quarter.
He's averaging over 4 yards a carry in limited action. That was only his, came in with 23 carries on the season. John Randall, we have not mentioned him very much tonight. Lines up at defensive end again. Cloud. Rudd met him in the hole and took him down at the 30. It's going to be 3rd and 6.
What I just don't like about what Kansas City's doing now, and they started it in somewhere in the second quarter. You run 1, you run 2 plays, and then you put it on the quarterback to pick up a 3rd and 6 or 7.
Yeah, but Jimmy Ray, the offensive coordinator, really, this has been the game plan. It's not like they haven't had guys open. They've either dropped the ball or, we saw Gonzalez wide open when Gerback missed him.
Short set, can't find anybody, then throws, and it's incomplete, nearly intercepted. And the tight end, Lonnie Johnson, wanted a flag and won't get it.
Well, that was outstanding coverage. This pass, Elvis Gerback wanted to throw in a hurry, and there really wasn't anybody open. And then when he did throw it, he tried to force it in, and number 32, Antonio Bass, makes the play.
Excellent defense by the Vikings, who have been roasted in the secondary this year, and Moss is back to return the punt. A beauty by Pope. Moss at the 26, fumbled the ball. Still loose. And Kansas City has it. Greg Minuski, the veteran special teamer. And Randy Moss muffed the punt. Huge break for Kansas City.
That's what happens when you could put a guy back there who really doesn't do it. It's a nice thought for Dennis Green to put Randy Moss back, but this ball goes right through. He takes his eye off it. Joe Horn tries to make a play on it. Now you start that. Watch, it goes right through. Never looks at it.
Watch how many times this ball goes up in the air, though. Here, well, that thing, if Joe Horn is there, the ball's popped up. Minnesota had it twice.
Richardson, the single setback. He'll get the call. It's loose again. And Minnesota has it. Holy cow. John Randall.
You said you didn't mention his name very much. Well, you can mention it now all you want.
Richardson hands it right back.
It's like the other fumble never occurred. The Vikings are going to wind up with the ball with one play in the middle. There's the handoff. He tries to go outside, runs into Randall. Chris Dolman comes all the way around and hits him from behind.
John Randall gives him the old butt tackle. He backed into him, hit him. The ball stripped out, and he gets the fumble.
First down, Minnesota. Robert Smith. Room to run on the outside. Got a whale of a block from Jake Reed.
Man, I'll tell you, do I love the way Robert Smith runs with the football. You know, he gets to the outside. He really doesn't look like he is an explosive runner. He is one of those guys that glides more than anything else, but he glides very, very fast. Watch this. He gets an excellent block to the outside, and watch this. He takes all that he can get and get outside.
But you've got to get wide receivers to block. That's Eric Warfield that Jake Reed's blocking on.
Smith again, another big hole up the middle, and he bursts out to the 47-yard line. James Hasty made the tackle.
Oh, you talked about the running style of Robert Smith. We saw Eddie George on Thursday, a similar type of a runner. Eddie George a little bit bigger, but a very similar type of a running style. High knee action, great explosiveness.
He's averaging 5.9 a carry, has 113 yards. Horde comes in to give him a blow. And Leroy Horde will get it. Room for the big guy. And Horde to the KC 40. Big block by Todd Stussy, the left tackle.
They are running behind Stussy and McDaniel on the left side now. They get Dan Williams' turn. What happens? Jerome Woods tries to fill the safety. He gets caught inside, and Horde just bounces it out.
Horde, a little stutter step. He'll get a couple before Reggie Tongue, the strong safety, brings him down.
Now, if you're the Minnesota Vikings, you've been running the ball effectively. You see those safeties start to stick their nose in. Reggie Tongue was up that time.
As we see Bennett going to the locker room.
Kansas City's wanting to get their safeties involved, which means you're going to wind up with one-on-one coverage outside to the receivers.
Moss to the near side, Reed to the far. Blitz coming on George. He lost it. Picked up by Kansas City. Eric Hicks. Touchdown. A game of giveaway and takeaway.
Well, for about a quarter and a half, Derek Thomas had kind of disappeared. But guess what, folks? Now he's back. Stussy gets his hands in his face. Derek Thomas causes a fumble, gets the sack. Hicks picks it up, and it's over.
But watch Eric Hicks runs. That's Robert Smith trying to run him down. That's a 280-pound defensive end that gets an assist from DT. Every time Gunther has singled out a player and called him out publicly, they have risen to the occasion.
2 sacks for Derek Thomas tonight. 3 turnovers in the last 7 plays. And the Chiefs are back on top. These overhead shots provided by the Southwest Airlines Aerial Cam, high above Arrowhead Stadium for ESPN Sunday Night Football. The Kansas City defense has given the Chiefs a 7-point lead. Tate at the 14 had a 77-yard return earlier. Room again. Pushed out of bounds by Lockett. Tate nearly broke another one.
Derek Thomas, you can't say enough about this guy when they put him on the line of scrimmage. This is Stussy on the very first play, and the very first series. He can't handle him, and here again you see him beat Todd Stussy. Joe, you made a point when we were in the break. Why not put a tight end over there? They don't throw to their tight ends anyway.
They've done it on occasion, but if they want to throw the football, especially on 1st and 10, put a tight end in front of them. Don't let it back block them. Make them go around somebody much larger.
Derek Thomas, 4 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble. They've run at him 8 times for 30 yards. They'll mark it back. They said he stepped out of bounds at the 47-yard line. Moss looked like he may have mistimed his jump against Eric Warfield.
Derek Thomas is up in the stands selling popcorn.
Coming up next on SportsCenter, Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen will be along. They bring you up on NFL Week 14, our Charles Barkley Sunday Night Conversation, and Shaq and Kobe against Grant Hill. Smith and Horde in the backfield together. Screen to Smith. Slips one tackle, got a great block and hurdles for a first down. What a tough run by Smith. A great block by Dixon.
Dave Dixon, 350 pounds out in front of Robert Smith. Here comes the screen. Kansas City wants to come. Good block. McDaniel on Patton. The big guy's out front, and Robert Smith goes airborne to pick up the extra yards.
First down, Vikings at the Chiefs' 40. Horde. Leroy Horde gets 6. If you're a Vikings fan, you always get nervous. Even though you like Leroy Horde running the ball, you get nervous about the fact that he has put it on the ground more often than any other active running back. And on the other hand, Robert Smith has fumbled the ball fewer times than any active running back. Horde. And that's why you might fumble. Reggie Tongue just killed him.
Well, you took one too many steps in the backfield. When that hole opens, you have to go. Robert Smith is coming back on the field. But Reggie Tongue was up on the line of scrimmage. And here you are again, Joe. You've got safeties up on the line of scrimmage.
Well, they tried to throw the last time, except that I think if you want to throw now, you've got to see who's in front of Derek Thomas. You've got to find him. You've got to locate him. And I don't think you can let Todd Susie try and do it by himself.
Well, he's got Robert Smith over there blocking with him.
Blitz coming.
Out.
George throws for Moss. Dishman, excellent coverage. Right in his face.
There's a flag on this play. They got...
It's going to be holding against Minnesota, and I would decline it if I was Kansas City.
It would bring up 4th down if they do decline it.
Plus, it's just cold enough. We have not seen the kickers kick very long field goals.
Holding. Offense, number 73. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 3rd down.
On Derek Thomas.
Well, he had to hold him because, watch this. Derek Thomas has got him beaten again. He leans. He's almost by him. That great lean of his, and he just pulls him to the ground. Otherwise, he would have hit Jeff George.
I don't like the decision to give them the football again. I don't care if it's 3rd down and 18. You give Jeff George a chance to get the ball down the field. I would have refused it to get the ball back.
Gunther Cunningham wants the crowd in it. Blitz coming. George for Reed and a flag down. It's going to be interference on Warfield.
That's why I would have not given them the ball back. That was a bad decision by the coaches there. Bad decision.
I agree with you, Joe. You just can't give Minnesota more cracks at it.
And they would not kick a field goal from there because they couldn't make it anyway.
Holding. Defense, number 44. 5 yards. 1st down.
5 yards and a 1st down. Jake Reed trying to go against Eric Warfield. He's got him locked up. He's a young guy just learning how to play in his 2nd year. And there comes the flag.
As soon as Jake Reed got by him, Warfield had to grab him.
If you were Kansas City with 5 minutes to go, you would have had the ball back in your possession.
Instead, it's a 1st down. Draw play Smith. Fights through a McLaughlin tackle and picks up about 3.
And not to belabor a point, but even if they tried a field goal, you'd still have a 5-point lead.
With the clock running, has this become 4-down territory for the Minnesota Vikings?
Well, the Minnesota Vikings only have 2 timeouts left.
I absolutely think so.
Both teams 7-5, a win critical for each.
And they got enough time in here. They don't have to worry about running the ball either. They can run the football.
And around to Moss. Look out. And Randy Moss will get out of bounds, and Hatchett threw him a block downfield. Oh, man.
Hatchett hits Jerome Woods, doesn't he?
He comes back, and he had him lined up. Matthew Hatchett
put him in the short area.
Oh, man.
And Woods never saw it coming.
He just didn't have it. He couldn't see anything. Watch it. Here comes the reverse. Randy Moss down on the left-hand side, folks. Watch Hatchett. Here he comes back off of a play, and bam!
And what a play call that was. What a time to pull it out of that bag. Smith. Nowhere to go this time, and the safety, Reggie Tongue, right at the line of scrimmage, combined with Donnie Edwards for the tackle.
It looks like Kansas City, Kurt Schottenheimer, the defensive coordinator, wants to put those safeties around the line of scrimmage to slow down the running game. He's really taking a chance. I still think if I'm Jeff George or I'm Ray Sherman, the offensive coordinator down here, I give Randy Moss a chance to make a play on the ball. That's what Kurt Schottenheimer's got to figure out. When should I get my safeties close? When should I make them look like they're going to come and put them back in coverage?
I don't know what Andrew Glover, the 82, they haven't even, nobody's covering because they don't throw to him.
Movement O'Neal. Leslie came across early. He's pointing at Glover.
No, Leslie,
but it didn't look like Glover flinched at all.
He didn't.
An interesting statistic. I don't know when the last time this happened. The Vikings have more rushing yards than they do passing. And we're in the fourth quarter.
And it was the biggest concern of Gunther Cunningham and the Kansas City defense. The ability of the Minnesota Vikings.
Defense, number 91. 5 yards, still second down.
The ability of that offense to run the football. We saw Kansas City do it early in the game. It created problems for Minnesota. Now, that same problem is being created for Kansas City's defense.
And again, plenty of time to run the football. They're at the 15-yard line. They've got second down and about 3.
And still 4:10 on the game clock. George changing the play. Chester McLaughlin nearly gave them 5 yards jumping across. Blitz coming. Unloads to Moss. The ball's loose. Kansas City has it. Donnie Edwards stripped it from Randy Moss. What a great play call by Jeff George.
Well, actually, it's Ray Sherman, the offensive coordinator, Mike White. But that shows you how much this team misses a Chris Carter. Because Chris Carter is the guy that doesn't make those kind of mistakes.
Would have been a first down. Instead, Moss lost it. He's out of the end zone. Donnie Edwards with a heck of a play on Randy Moss. Ripped it out of his arms. It would have been 1st and goal.
Donnie Edwards asked me yesterday, how do I get to the Pro Bowl? Well, you make plays like this. Watch his arm inside, strip the ball loose, and then he goes after it and he gets the fumble. That's just a great play by the linebacker, Donnie Edwards.
Randy Moss in traffic. Just tries to cover it with one hand. Can't do it. You know, how do you not wind up going to the Pro Bowl? You make mistakes like this.
Now Minnesota has 2 timeouts left. 4:02 on the clock. They need a defensive stop, which has not been their strong suit this year.
And they absolutely know that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to run the football.
And you really, no matter what's happened tonight, this guy's your best chance to get it in the end zone, and you want to get the ball back to give Randy Moss a shot. Give Jeff George a chance to get him the ball.
Kansas City has their only 2 healthy running backs on the field, Richardson and Cloud. This is Cloud, the rookie, out to the 8.
And the nice part about it for Minnesota, they don't have to take timeouts now.
And I don't think Kansas City can just play this very conservative. I think they have to try and get first downs. Gunther Cunningham just can't expect to just line up and try and pound it against this Minnesota defense. Dennis is going to put people up there.
But this is what they built this offense around. The ability to run it late in the game and kill the clock like that. Cloud across the 20, first down. That'll eat more time off the clock.
The thing about with this running game of the Kansas City Chiefs, there's nothing fancy about it. They hand the ball off. They go straight up the field. There's no trick stuff. They just give the ball a hand off the Cloud. Watch the hole on the left-hand side. Richardson goes up inside. They get an outstanding block by Grunard, the center, number 61, and the hole is there. Watch this. Nothing tricky. Just straight up the field.
Inside 3 minutes. First down. Cloud again. 2, maybe 3.
And Tim Grunard, they didn't even know if he was going to play tonight. He's hobbling around the locker room with a bad leg. And you know, just a typical Notre Dame guy just gutting it out. I mean,
give me
unbelievable.
Notre Dame guy.
Second round selection from Notre Dame in 90.
How many times is Notre Dame going to play Navy next year?
I hope all. Well, I mean, you're right about this offensive line play. I mean, Tim is just he's the anchor, but those 2 guards inside. This is big guys against big guys right now.
The 2-minute warning will stop the clock, and the Vikings still with 2 timeouts. And they got Cloud that time in the backfield. Ed McDaniel, the middle linebacker. And they will let it wind down to the 2-minute warning, bringing up a 3rd and long for Kansas City. Shots provided by the Southwest Airlines aerial cam high above Arrowhead for ESPN Sunday Night Football. Huge 3rd down coming up, Joe.
And if I'm the Chiefs right here, I still use the play action, but Andre Rison is a guy who caught the first 2 passes in this game. He's a money guy. Gonzalez is on the outside. He'd be the other guy I look for. One of those 2 guys to make the play for me.
Gerback short set. Instead, he goes underneath to Derek Alexander. He did not get the first down. He got a timeout called with 1:53 to go. That'll force a punt. And Minnesota will have only 1 timeout. 53 to go. Randy Moss, who muffed one earlier, is waiting at his 30. And we have to go all the way back to 97 when they had more rushing yards than passing yards. Returnable kick from Moss from the 36. Look out!
He's gone. He's gone.
That's it. Good night.
He's gone.
64 yards. Touchdown.
No flags.
And that was in
no
a heartbeat.
chance.
That was in a heartbeat.
Well, you know, everybody questioned last year, and no one knew how fast this guy is. Well, he just showed you how fast he can be when he has to be.
Is Dion, are you watching? I think the gauntlet has been laid. Somebody to challenge the king.
What an explosion up the middle. And you knew as soon as he got past the first couple of guys, it was over. Now the extra point to tie from Anderson. And it's 28 apiece. A 64-yard strike by Randy Moss on the punt return.
The first thing he does that's good on this one is he catches it. Watch, he takes his time. Now comes the acceleration. There isn't anybody that's going to catch him. Not one. But what really sets this up is the gunners of the Kansas City Chiefs down the field. You see them, both of them are double. Minnesota is not going to allow these guys to get close to him. Now this is the other side on Joe Horn. Gary Zorner, the special teams coach, terrific design to get his guy in open field.
Holding. Watch this, so watch. Here's where watch this. Gary hits here. Now it's over. Goodbye. They said no one knows how fast he really is because, you know, he said it himself.
He's as fast as he had to be, and Red McCombs breaks out the hustle. The owner of the Minnesota Vikings has seen his star offensive player tired.
Had the Dirty Bird in Atlanta. We got the Minnesota Mash going up there this year.
Well, I'll tell you.
We'll have to check with Red, see what he calls that one.
Randy Moss has been like a graft tonight. He's been unbelievable at times, and he's been incredibly disappointing, and then unbelievable, and back and forth. And Red loves every part of it.
Now Vanover waits at the goal line. He is equally dangerous on return.
And the Chiefs have all 3 of their timeouts.
7 times in his career, he's brought it all the way back. 4 on kickoffs, 3 on punts. Had an 80-yard return last week. Vanover from the 14. Runs into traffic across the 30.
What a night this has been for Randy Moss. He has seen it all. He's seen the good, which you see on his touchdown run here. He's seen the bad on his attempted first punt return. And he's seen the ugly on a fumble and a strip by Donnie Edwards. And then let's move to the absolutely incredible. He has run the gamut of emotions for his fans, for his teammates, and for himself.
All right, let me go play some defense now.
It's the only thing they haven't tried. 4 wide receiver set. Kansas City with plenty of time. 1.5 minutes and all 3 timeouts. Gerback. The out complete to Joe Horn.
Jimmy Ray said that what Elvis Gerback needs to do to move to the next level of quarterbacking in this league is he's got to lead our football team in the 4th quarter to victory. Well, this is the first opportunity that Elvis is going to have.
Spotted at the Kansas City 49. Blitz coming. Gerback rolls away from pressure. Throws to the sideline. Incomplete, out of bounds. Caught by Gonzalez.
John Randall is so upset with himself because he's got Elvis Gerback on the outside. John Randall tries to make a move and slips. Look at him. He's talking to himself. He slipped and fell.
And look who's in coverage on Tony Gonzalez. That's Dwayne Clemens, a defensive end, knocking him out of bounds.
And that play ruled out of bounds. It is not reviewable once it is ruled out of bounds.
And we have also reached the point in the game where the officials now can only review. The coaches cannot challenge.
Gerback somehow got away from a lot of pressure and takes a shot as he reached the 45. McDaniel and John Burrow combined.
Now is where clock management also is important by Kansas City. You don't want to punt the ball to the Minnesota Vikings with too much time, but you want to leave yourself enough time if you do get the first down to make a play.
Gerback under pressure. Screen to Richardson. First down. Good, tough run by Richardson, who had to break 1 ankle tackle and then lowered his head to get the necessary yardage.
What a call. Boy, you know, the coordinators here are playing chess games. This is a screen by Jimmy Ray, and he gets it to Tony Richardson. Watch the big man move. Look at those moves. Gunther Cunningham said he made moves sometimes that looked like Barry Sanders.
Jimmy Hitchcock, who thought he had a shot, missed the tackle, and it's a first down. Stoyanovich getting warm just in case. Gerback under pressure. This time they got him from behind. And that's not a good play by Elvis Gerback. You've got to get rid of that football.
You also have to call a timeout here and use one of these things. They got 41 seconds left to go. They only have to get about 20 yards.
Well, keep in mind, Stoyanovich had a 45-yard field goal attempt early in the game, and it was well short.
Yeah. John Randall coming upfield. Look at, he's trying to work on his swim moves, all his moves that he's got to get around Victor Riley, and he does.
Well, that's a little bit of the conservative way that Elvis Grbac has been taught to play. And actually, it's good. It's first down. You're better off taking a sack in this situation on 1st and 10 than trying to make an errant throw or get your arm up in the air and cause a fumble. He's doing what Gunther wants him to do.
2nd and 15. 2 timeouts left for Kansas City. Blitz comes. They pick it up well. Grbac to Gonzalez, and the big man inside the 40 to the 39. It'll be 3rd and 4. Clock running inside 30.
What they're doing is they're dropping Dwayne Clements into coverage on Tony Gonzalez.
Grbac with a strike for a first down at the 30. What a throw to Lockett.
I'll tell you what I like that Elvis Grbac did. He thought about using the timeout, but instead he was very judicious, got his players to the line, got the play off, and managed to get a ball that got out of bounds for him. Does a nice job of stepping up in the pocket. Lockett knows where he has to get out of bounds, does a good job of getting his foot down. Now you've got 2 timeouts. Now if you want to work the middle of the field to your tight end, you can do that as well.
Boy, that was a strike by Elvis Grbac. Another completion, this one to Derek Alexander.
Well, all they really need now is one more 5-yard completion, and they're home free.
From here, it would be about 43 yards for Stojanovic.
Paul, I really think, I would say, as the quarterback, I would want to try and get the ball somewhere in the neighborhood of the 15-yard line, which is about a 10-yard completion, which I'm sure you're talking about. But I would like to get it as close as I possibly could for Stojanovic.
I wouldn't be afraid to run here, because they're all back in pass coverage.
Got 2 timeouts.
Exactly.
Stojanovic is the best from that distance in history over his career. Another completion. Joe Horn close to a first down. And Joe, you said to go to the next level, he had to lead his team, and boy, he's done it so far.
He has given them an opportunity. We have seen Elvis Grbac, I believe, tonight take a step forward in moving to another level as a quarterback in this league.
Stojanovic comes on. They'll spot it at the 20, so it should be a 38-yard try.
Those are the 5 yards you needed, old soothsayer. Soothsayer. All Randy can do is sit and watch.
And now Minnesota uses its final timeout to try to ice Stojanovic. .49 of 54 in his career since coming from Miami. 0 for 1 tonight. That's better than 90%.
The only thing I want to point out is Daniel Pope is a rookie from Alabama. He is the punter. He is also the holder. There have been occasions when he has had a little bit of a problem fielding the snap. And in this holding, I don't concern myself with Pete Stojanovic, to be perfectly honest with you, because I believe if the ball gets down, he's going to put it through. My concern would be to make sure that Daniel Pope gets it on the ground.
And they were considering moving Elvis Grbac into that holder slot because Pope had a couple of problems.
And Elvis said no.
I'll tell you the other thing. If I was Pope, I'd have my hands in that pouch that he has behind him.
Now they are kicking on 3rd down with 8 seconds on the clock, so in case there's some kind of a problem, they would have another crack at it.
They made a first down on that play with Horn.
Well, they'll kick with 8 seconds in case they have a problem. How's that?
Good.
16 of 21 in his career. Plenty of distance. Pete Stojanovic wins it for Kansas City. Elvis Grbac got them in position, and Stojanovic came through. 3 seconds left on the clock.
It's a good snap. What a nice job by Pope. Watch how he spins the ball. Watch where the laces are. The laces are back at Stojanovic. What a nice job. Now that's
a bit of artwork.
For those of you that don't really know, when Joe's talking about the laces, you look at the laces, Chris Carter's all upset. But you look at the laces, and these kickers, they want that laces straight down the field, because if the laces are to the right or to the left, the ball has a good opportunity of going that way.
Jimmy Ray, he's seen his quarterback grow up, and look at the entire coaching box. Pete Stoyanovich, thank you. Pete says, look at me, I did it again. Look at me.
Now, what do you do here with 3 seconds on the clock? Squib kick, kick it deep?
Keep it on the ground. This ball never, ever should get more than a foot off the ground. Roll it, bounce it. Make one of the big guys up front handle it. Somebody in the wedge should handle it.
Robert Tate anticipating he's moving up to his own 15. Stoyanovich to kick. Loose ball picked up by Mo Williams. It's the Cal Band play. And it stopped at the 31. Kansas City blows a 21-point lead and then comes back to win it. Tremendous emotion here at Arrowhead.